Good weekend morning, YouTubers. Reloading Bench back with you once again. This time we're going to talk briefly about a sensitive topic for some, for others not so much. I would consider myself in the latter group, the not so much, but again, to each his own or their own, whatever pronoun is appropriate. But I'm going to talk about range pickup or brass at the range. So when we go, like for example, this was my yet to be cleaned pickup from pre-Father's Day, the weekend of Father's Day when I went out and shot. I don't even think I've posted that video yet, but whatever. So there's my stuff, and inadvertently there's always some 9mm laying around, or when I sweep up my brass, more often than not somebody shooting next to me is shooting 940 or some other pistol caliber when I'm shooting pistol. And if it's something that I'm interested in, unusual size, like maybe 357 38 special, 44, I'm always a fan of 45, but I'll sweep it up. I'll ask whoever's shooting if they want their brass, and if not, I'll definitely pick it up and save it, even if I don't shoot that particular caliber. And that's exactly what happened with 6.5 Creedmoor. We were out at the range one afternoon, and I said this, I think, in my 6.5 Creedmoor video, and there was a couple of guys shooting next to us, and I'm like, is that 308? Because it looks very similar to 308, but is not. The 6.5 Creedmoor is the new 308. How's that? Anyway, as it was hitting the ground, and they were shooting, I could see them pulling it out of the commercial ammo box, brand new box. It was brand new ammo, and essentially once fired brass. And as it was hitting the ground, I could see they're scooping it up and trashing it. And I'm like, hey, do you guys want your brass? And when I saw it was 6.5 Creedmoor, I was like, I don't even use that. I don't load for that. And I thought to myself, worth having. Checked online, and there are people selling, a casing as high as $1 or more. And I think that's just, taking advantage of a situation, but it is what it is. So anyway, usually when we're on the rifle side and we're shooting 223, inadvertently there's always somebody else shooting 223. And more often than not, we get mixed up brass. So I have no issues picking this up. I see some people will paint their brass, coat their brass, put a marker across the primer or something so that they know it's theirs for brass pickup. Again, to each their own. But the last few times we've gone, there have been people next to us shooting more, something a little more, or rather less common, more unusual. How's that? And one of them was 308. And then on another side is 30-06. You'll see 308 more than you'll see 30-06. But I thought that was kind of interesting to see 30-06. So once again, we're like, hey, you guys want your brass? And more often than not, no, go ahead, because then that saves them from sweeping it up. And then we get to pick up some decent brass. So if you shoot, something different, or as in the case of 6.5 Creedmoor, if you don't know that you're going to eventually shoot it, once you make that decision and you're like, oh my goodness, I don't have any brass. I was at, and I will show a picture of this, at a local shop this past weekend, and a bag of, obviously new, I think it was Nosler, I'll find the picture, 250 rounds, 250 cases rather, of 223, again, brand new, was, I think, $159.99, so $160 for 250 cases. So 160 plus tax, there's 76, $180 for 250 rounds of brass, which this stuff is give me brass at the range. Most people don't pick it up. Most people don't reload, and to have to pay for 223, again, I could see maybe something a little more exotic, unusual, but not 223. But for those who don't pick up brass at the range because, I don't know the condition of the brass or the whatever, hey, more power to you, to each their own. But for me, as long as the case looks good, and I'll reload, until either the primer doesn't seat well, or I get a split in the neck around the case mouth, or other, you know, maybe enough damage on the case. But my view is I will pick it up and save it for a rainy day, or not so much a rainy day for stuff that we shoot. And 22, even though I can technically, you don't see too many nickel-plated 22. I think I'll save that. You just don't see that. But, yeah, I'm a fan of picking up brass as long as the people next to you are fine with it. And again, you ask politely, and more often than not, most people don't care if you pick up their brass, and you can obviously tell a reloader by their setup and how meticulous they are with collecting their own brass. But I found this is a great way to accumulate, again, maybe something you don't yet shoot, but you will, or something you shoot, and it's always good to have more of, because there's no such thing as too much brass, especially these days. So I'm a fan of range pickup where it's allowed and where people accommodate. And for those who don't, that's okay too. And since I full-length resize, it doesn't really bother me at all. So I look at it as a win. So I've seen the what I call the brass holes that'll walk around to buckets and just start dumping buckets, which is rude and inconsiderate for the range who tries to turn you know, the thrown away brass into somewhat of a revenue generating avenue, so that offsets some of the costs of running the range. So I'm not a fan of the brass holes, but for those who ask and are considerate and are basically right around their own bench, I don't see an issue with that, but I'm sure somebody will feel otherwise. But all is good. Short video. Take care. Bye.